from the beginning to the end in Barcelona.
Okay, guys, we do the embargo, please, for 10:30 this evening. Just here in the middle, thank you.
Hi, Pep. Hello.
Hello.
During the game at Mönchengladbach, I think you had 4 different defensive units during the game. You say it's about build-up. How do you mean then? Do you mean the players, they weren't working together as a unit well, or, I mean, because you went from 3 to 4 quite soon, didn't you, in the game?
No, 3 to 4 in the last 10 minutes, the first half.
That's quite soon?
Yeah, yeah. Well, quite soon is 15 minutes. But yeah. Yeah, we didn't make good the 3-2. In our build-up, it was not quite good, and that's why David and Kevin cannot receive the ball when we believe they have to receive the ball to attack and help Sergio to attack quicker and more often. And that's why we had no problems, because we didn't suffer too much about in terms of how many chances we concede. About our build-up, it was not sometimes good. Sometimes we make the 4-3 to make good that. It depends on the opponent, the way they play here in Etihad Stadium. Mönchengladbach was completely different what they played there. They were so aggressive, one against one, man-to-man. In our build-up, they wait in the part of the half-time, the pitch. So it was different, but this kind of thing that can happen to get him back. So we cannot train that. You have to improve during the games, and in the games. But we will do that because it's not complicated, and we will do that. You have the players to do that.
Pep, your record after Champions League games in the Premier League has not been great. It's in the group games. Is there any sort of reason for that? And obviously you're looking to improve that tomorrow.
In the way?
Yes. Well, just games after the Champions League games.
After Champions League game, we won in Stoke City.
Not in the group so much. Not too many times.
But it's the most important game. So in that moment it was more difficult because we didn't have so many experience and we were new and we didn't know how we would react. It was our first official game. So, but always is difficult. Yeah, always is difficult after the Champions League game because the travel and the demand and not just physical of mentally approach after the Champions League game is so tough, and most of the players they don't use to play every 3 days after Champions League, but they are in process. So we are working on that today. Today we're going to sleep all together here in CFA. So and tomorrow we're going to travel to Burnley.
Hi Pep.
Hi.
Has Yaya made himself undroppable after the performance last week?
Undroppable?
You can't leave him out again after his performance?
No, everybody is undroppable. Yeah, impressive. Every player is for me on that. So we have to do is Yaya was so important in Crystal Palace for 2 goals, how he played. But like a team, our performance must be better. So I'm concerned on that to play better like a team, and of course Yaya can be important with us like all the other players. I don't want to put on Yaya all the responsibility to win the games. I never do that. So even when I played with, I was trained as the best player in the world. So I try to be involved all the process, the game, to not put on one player the shoulder responsibility to win the game. So it will not be good for Yaya and for the team. So Yaya is going to play games, and some of them is not going to play like the other players. So the last game in Crystal Palace, for example, Stones, Gundogan, David Silva didn't play. So when you play in that rhythm, in that level, 11 mount every 3 days, in national teams and so on. So all the players are important on that.
Just at the back there.
Hi, Pep.
Hi.
Tomorrow is the last game of November, and then in December we will play with Chelsea, Leicester, Arsenal, Liverpool, maybe 4 of the team that can win the Premier League. So how important is the game of tomorrow? Thinking not lose points, and how maybe you can rest player to this month, to December, will be very complicated for you. Thank you.
Yeah, for the other two. Yeah, it will be complicated for the other teams as well. So that's why, of course, it's so important that game. But it was like important Crystal Palace and the games here. We dropped 6 points at home when we deserve, especially 2 of them to win. Or how we did, was our behavior. But that is, of course, that is just at the end we have to analyze. It depends of the result, and the result was not good, and we are there. But I'm satisfied in the moment. So after 8 games in the Champions League, being there with top teams like Liverpool and Chelsea and Arsenal and Tottenham and of course United, because United is last game is getting embarrassed, so now they are a real contender to win the Premier League. So everything can happen, but it's game by game. So I'm not thinking about too much about next week Chelsea, the other one. So now it's just focus on Burnley, and after rest a little bit because we didn't have too many days off, especially for the people who play, the players who played in the national team. And after to prepare, of course, Chelsea, but game by game. And after played Leicester, and because every game is completely different the way they play. For example, Chelsea is completely different the way they play. Chelsea plays, as for example, Burnley or Leicester. So we try to discover a little bit the points, the secrets, and try to win.
Pep, you're probably aware that last time City played Burnley 2 years ago, they dropped 5 points out of 6. It was a season when Burnley were relegated as well. Have you bothered watching the tapes of that game? Has it got any relevance?
No,
Have
never.
the players said anything about those games?
Yeah, never am thinking about what happened 2 years ago or 3 years ago about Burnley, because today we're playing against Burnley and the day after tomorrow the game would be completely different. Imagine 2 years ago. But I am concerned how difficult, how tough it was for the big teams. But I think Burnley is not exceptional, like for example West Brom or Stoke or all the teams in Premier League stuff. So that is, when I arrived here, the people spoke about that, and after 11 or 12 games, I realized how difficult it is to win one game, and tomorrow will not be an exception on that. And I am more not what they dropped 5 points to 6 2 years ago, because I didn't know that. Now is the first time I realized. So I'm concerned. So they beat, for example, Liverpool, and Arsenal in the moment when they won 5-6 games in a row, one in the extra time. So that's why. So will be tough. I know that. Like Crystal Palace as well from this kind of games. Because what they do really, really well. So what they do, the way they play, I am impressed. So, and that's why I'm satisfied to be here to try to control that way.
Do you think your team and your players deserve more credit for where they are in the table, given, as you say, you've played all these European games, Chelsea and Liverpool haven't? Is it more of an achievement to still be so close to them, given the amount of games you've had compared to those two teams?
No, I think we are not here to deserve more credit about your opinions or the opinions for the fans. So we have to accept that. So we start really well in terms of points. In our game, especially in many games, but the terms of points, and the people maybe expect everything will be easy. But it happened in my past in Barcelona and Bayern Munich, but looks like always is easy because it's not, not opponents. In that moment, always I said everything is so complicated. So, in terms of points, we are quite well, believe me. So I'm satisfied and demanding Champions League to be there. And in terms of game, we have to improve. Of course, we have to improve, and we will do that because I think the reason why, and we have to try to improve in the next period.
Hi Pep, you spoke in Germany about it could take 10 years for this club to be on a certain level in Europe. Do you have a clear plan, a kind of vision for your first 3 years here in terms of what you can achieve, what you can win, targets for trophies, etc.?
No, I said 10 years, like I could say 5, or I could say it's not, because I am not a magician to know exactly how many years you did. My reflection, it was when I said before, after, for example, Barcelona game, it was to be considered like a favorite on the other level, we need more time. And the first step is to be 4 times in a row in the final. That is the first step. And after that, achieve the semi-finals or 40 finals. So now we're talking about, okay, Manchester City has to achieve the semi-finals. We're going to try that, but when you see the contenders, do you know how many good teams are in Europe? how many teams, or for example, Liverpool and Chelsea, that moment, they are teams to play the Champions League and arrive in quarterfinals in the way they play. But when you're talking about Juventus de Turin, when the last 5 or 6 years won the Italian league, and 2 years ago arrived in the final, and always their players for the last 15, 20, 25 years, they had to win every single week, every single game. Barcelona, Madrid, Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, I know very well how good they play. Benfica in Portugal, or in England, like Arsenal. So there are many good teams in Europe. And to achieve there, when arrive the quarterfinals, the people say, that is normal. No, it's not normal. I think all the time when you arrive in semi-finals or finals, it's an exception. And in that club, when it's the first time in the long history for that club, it's the fourth time in a row arriving just 80 finals. So that is, you have to be so happy. The people in the club has to be so proud what they did in the last 4, 5, 6 years, because it's not easy, but believe me.